Sounds good. Goodness. Hi, everybody. Happy Monday evening. These calls are always super fun. I love seeing y'all's beautiful faces. I am so genuinely excited because Megan, I feel like is kind of like a sleeper diamond. And what do I mean by that? I'll tell you what I mean by that. Like she is so wise. She is so gifted. She has so many strengths. And people hear her speak and share her wisdom and her tips. And they're like, oh my gosh, like I want to hear more from her. And I just feel like I've heard it said so many times about you, Megan. Like when someone has a conversation with you, they walk away going, I really learned something. I really gleaned something from her. I love how she does business and how she loves her team still while balancing motherhood and homeschooling and marriage and all the things. And so when I thought about who I wanted to bring on as a guest speaker, like you truly were the first person I thought of. And so I texted her, I'm like, okay, if you can't do it, let me know, but you're my first choice. So no pressure. But I'm just so excited to have her. And I just asked her to, she's kind of been in a, Megan, would you say this is a new wave of momentum for you, just like in the last year? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've never kind of really I don't really feel like you've ever been in like a really slow or stuck period, but you've kind of just really shot up recently with just some new things going on with your team. So I just thought you'd be the perfect person to share.
Sweet. So glad to be on with you guys tonight. So fun. Funny story. I was already at 7:30 this morning. I thought it was AM. I don't know why. That's because I have a power hour at 6:30. So I was like, oh, perfect. I can just go from the power hour to the
Yeah. Yeah, no, she was texting me. She's like, do I have like the wrong, are you, what's going on? I'm like, it's in 12 hours.
Yes. So I got prepared all nice and early. Okay, well, it's so great to be on with you guys. So I started Plexus 9.5 years ago, almost 10 years in February. That's crazy. And I did not start for a business. Sorry, I feel like it's really shadowy in here. Didn't start for a business, started for products for health reasons. And it really grew, like the sharing part just grew. It felt organic to me. And it was an extension of what I was already doing, actually, because people came to me naturally just asking for health advice and supplement advice, and I would refer them to the local Amish health food store. And so when I started Plexus and I realized like there was a sharing component, I was like, okay, well, brilliant, perfect. This makes sense. I mean, I'm already referring people to the health food store. Might as well refer them to my replicated website. And it made sense how and why the products worked. Like I did a deep dive when I started, such a nerdy thing to do, but for my crunchy mama crunchy brain, I needed to know, I needed to have answers for my friends that were going to ask me, well, why is BioCleanse better than natural calm you can buy at the health food store? Or why is this probiotic better than what I could get at the health food store or another online store? And so I felt like I had to be equipped with answers to questions like that for my specific network. And so it really actually fueled my belief in the beginning because I saw how brilliantly combined the triplex was. And it was so simple. Like everyone that I just started on triplex. So again, I didn't start for a business, but I quickly realized like, oh, this is more than helping a couple of friends at church. Like this has the potential. We started to realize like this could be the answer to prayer in light of time and financial freedom for our family. And so I guess the overarching theme of what I want you guys to get tonight is the answers to these questions. And you might not have the answers tonight. So I want you to write down on your notes, or if you're taking notes on your phone, these two questions. What do I want? And why? So, I mean, I could tell my story. I could talk about commitment and belief and creative ways to grow your business. And I'll share some practical things too, because I love sharing practical things. But those two things, honestly, the answer to those two questions, honestly, is the driver for everything. It's the reason why you're showing up. And it's also the reason why you're not showing up. Because if you don't have clarity on those two things, and it doesn't matter if you're a brand new, brand ambassador that's referred a friend, or if you're a diamond ambassador, I feel like at any given point, if we don't have clarity on what we want and why, we're going to just flounder around like a floppy fish, not really having a goal to anywhere. And the cool thing about this, and also the dangerous thing about what we do with Plexus, is that no one's giving that to us. Like, we don't have sales quotas. We don't have like someone, an employer telling us, oh, you need to do XYZ today for your business, right? And so we are the CEOs, which is really awesome, but also the lack of accountability for that, because it can be whatever we want it to be, right? Can also mean that we just kind of float around. And I don't know about you guys, but I like having clarity because I feel like it gives me a plan. And so one of the biggest tips that I want to give you is the pen and paper model. And Megan Goff style, it does not have to look pretty, okay? I have my planner thingy, which I'm a pen and paper person. I know it's so old school. Like, it does not have to look pretty. This is my new, I don't even know that it is 100 list, but it's my list that I made last week or 2 weeks ago. And it's not beautiful. And I have sticky notes and different things, like whatever works for your brain to get out of the abstract and into the physical. If you have one of these fabulous workbooks, like however your brain works to work your business, I would encourage you to get a plan on paper and get your team on paper or in the notes in your phone, however your brain works the best. Okay. I'm kind of a hot mess person over here. That's how I work. I'm organized to an extent, but not perfectly. Sometimes I feel like people get stuck in the weeds because everything has to be perfectly organized, color coded. Posts have to be all original. Like, it takes so much more time to do that, which if you're in a life season where you can invest that much into the organizational side of it, perfect. I just haven't been the last 10 years. So we've still had babies. We have 7 kids and my oldest is 19. My youngest is 4. So we're legit in the thick of it. And where we're at as a family 10 years down the road is very different from where it was 10 years ago. Like, my oldest was 9, right? 9. Yeah, 10, 9 or 10. And all my kids, not all of them, but most of them took naps every day. And the ones that didn't take naps had a quiet resting time. Fast forward 10 years later, like, we're going everywhere. The kids are in sports, homeschooling times 6 kids, one of them's graduated. And so, yeah, it's a lot. And don't think too highly of me in terms of how I'm doing it all, because, most days I feel like it's kind of a hot mess, and it's the struggle of the juggle. That's what I say. But again, it goes back to what you want and why. And we saw the vision for what this could be financially and for time freedom. And so, for example, my 8-year-old is cleaning the kitchen as a consequence because of his attitude earlier. And then my husband and our 13-year-old and 9-year-old are out working on a hunting shack type of thing. It's on a trailer that they bought. They're fixing it up and like learning some life skills, doing, carpentry skills and all that. So like, the time freedom piece is what drove me. It's the reason why, even in my sleep deprived, like delirious state, having my babies number 5 and 6 and then 7 in this last 9-year stint in Plexus, like, it's been worth it. Like, the work is worth it. If I could tell you anything, get a vision. If you don't have a vision, get a vision. If you're not sure what it is or what it needs to be, pray for it. God can download that to you. And it doesn't have to look like mine. Like, I know there's probably a wide variety of people with goals on this call. Some of you maybe are wanting to get your products covered, and that's the farthest ahead you can think at this point. Some of you have goals to be diamond. And I just want to encourage you that regardless of what your goal is, it's yours. So own it and work for it. Because I already said the work is worth it, but like, network marketing is alive and well. And it's a whole industry. I didn't know anything about this. I had no like network marketing skills prior to this. I mean, I was an entrepreneur as a kid, but there's things to learn about this industry. And we're in the middle of leaders retreat contest right now, which, if you have no other vision, work for that vision. Go earn yourself a trip for 2. Like, how awesome is that? Like, just cabbage onto that and get motivated to work, because that's a really awesome trip. Like, Plexus is in the top of the industry, I'm sure, in terms of how they do incentive trips. They're amazing. And it's a sales incentive trip. So it's heavily weighted on level 1 recruitment and duplication too. But the thing I would encourage you to do is get good at sales, like learn how to get better at it. Okay, so I have 2 book recommendations. If you have not read any books about network marketing or how to help your skills in network marketing in your Plexus business, read these 2. And I'm a diamond, and I think I've listened to this. It's a season 1 of Keith Callahan's podcast, by the way. So if you need to pop an earbud in because you're in that life stage like me, do it. But I'm also going through it again, but in a written format, because I glean more if I can. I'm slower, but I glean more and I'm reminded of things, right? So leaders are learners. It doesn't matter if you're a however many star diamond or have 3 Plexus businesses within your business. Like, we can get better and keep learning. And so I'm also reading this one. You should see my stack on my nightstand. I have like probably 12 books. Most of them are like marriage and family books. And I have like business books also, because I want to increase my skill set with in my business. And like, as you're growing and gaining skills, you're also going to be teaching your team. So like, we're in this learning mode, but we're also in teacher mode, teaching and passing on what we're doing. And our team is always in the most momentum when I'm in personal momentum. Like, not that that means you can never have a break, when you hit your goal or whatever. You totally can. But our goal, like our personal goal right now, I mean, Justin and I both have diamond businesses, and we have a third business that's at the jewel rank. And so like, our goal at this point is to keep going. We're like, well, God hasn't shown us something different to do. And we're not done helping people. But even getting that clarity in 2019, I was kind of in this space of like, kind of frazzle mode, like how do I keep up? 2 things. I hired an assistant because it got to that point where it's like, okay, if like running a $100,000 businesses, like those types of businesses have help. Thinking one person can do all of it is kind of crazy, right? And we do this in order to have time freedom. And so that massively helped. And then also I changed my mindset about like helping more people, because I'm a decently strong recruiter, so I can continue to bring people in for the products and the business. But there was this part of me that's like, I'm not even taking good care of the people that I already have on my team, and I just decided, you know what? I'm willing to continue because I'm not done helping people yet. It's actually Brooke Hemingway that said that little phrase that completely got me out of my headspace. And interestingly, we launched into 2020 and had, well, like, except for this year, 2020 was our biggest year to date. 2024 is going to blow it out of the water. But it really interesting how sometimes just that quick mindset shift can get us out of a funk and open up abundance, like just because of a simple mindset shift. And so we also built a house that year and had baby number 7. So you never know how God will bring abundance into your life. But okay, Tamara asked me what I'm passionate about, and I would say the thing I'm passionate about, one of the things is doing the things, because you can sit on a call and like, that's comfy and cozy for me to share my, whatever inspiration you're gleaning from what I'm sharing. But when the rubber meets the road, it's actually doing the things. And the work that we do is kind of tedious if you think about it. Like, I've been in some full-on recruitment mode, going back to like making some lists, some reach out lists, and contacting people, just creating conversations. If you've read this book, then you probably know about, or if you even have followed Keith Callahan on Instagram for any length of time, you've probably heard of his solo cup analogy, his red solo cup analogy. You guys know about that?
Share that, baby.
Basically, like, if a gym floor is covered in red solo cups, your job is to flip all of those cups over and find the ping pong ball or the whatever little chunk of gold underneath those cups. Now, in your Plexus business, you'll have different versions, right? Not every ping pong ball that you find is going to be a diamond, but they might be a gold, or they might end up being a gem or a jewel on your team, right? And so normalize the fact that this, like, to excel in this business, you're going to be having conversations, like you're going to be engaging and talking with people and expanding and growing your network. It's those 2 things: rinse, wash, repeat. And sometimes I think people think it's more glamorous than it actually is. Like, I'm doing the same things that I did 10 years ago. And I think one of the reasons that we haven't had major dip in points or huge major long time plateaus is because we've continued to do what we once did. And so I just invite you, if you are feeling stuck in your business, and it could even stuck can kind of even like happen month over month. Like, some months are amazing and you don't feel like you did anything to like ignite it, and then other months are like you feel like you're trying all the things and you're not seeing fruit for that. It's part of this business, like in the sense that we invest but don't see fruit a lot of times until like 90 days out. And being willing to do the things even when you don't see fruit, and continuing to do those things, because it compounds. All of that compounds. And so I'm passionate about doing the things. And when I say doing the things, do what you once did when you started your business. What did you do? And some of you need to actually pretend like you don't have a team. Okay. You got to trick your mind. This totally works because I've done it. I was stalled out at like 2,000 points when I was an emerald. And I was like, what in the world is happening? So January rolled around. I was like, okay, I'm just going to pretend that I don't have a team. And I'm starting as a brand new, fresh person. I'm going to go silver. Okay. And then Jessica Heffley actually said, those of you who want to rank up this year need to have 10 new level ones by March. She's like, you've just got to recruit some new people into your team. And so I don't know, right or wrong, I just was like, okay, well, I took her advice, except I scrunched it in and made myself the goal of, I'm going to try to do 10 per month, which some people recruit way more than that. I don't typically recruit that many. I mean, I can usually bring in 3 to 6 new people per month, but 10 is kind of a stretch. But I wanted to give myself that stretch goal, because once you bring them in, then you can work with them. And reminder, some of you may work your business really well recruiting business builders, and like you're going after leaders, you're recruiting business builders, you are funneling that side, that piece of your Plexus business, which, newsflash, there's 2 businesses within your business. You have the customer client base piece, and you also have the team building piece. And some people, what I see happen is like they only figure out the how to get customers part. And that's great because it will grow your paycheck. It'll help you earn trips and things like that. But if you're not recruiting leaders and having your eye out for business builders and or converting these people in this bucket, in the customer bucket, and converting them into sharing ambassadors, you will not see the exponential amazing side of network marketing with the team building piece. And sometimes that can take time to, 1, find the people, 2, stay consistent with those actions, because sometimes that process goes a little slower. And 3, just giving yourself, like, being patient with yourself to learn the developing skills, and or just the finding the leader skills, or just doing the things to find those leaders. And sometimes you have to build a network more to find more of those people that want a business opportunity. But once you sign up true business builders, like the other parts of that isn't hard because most likely they're going to be self-motivated, driven. They're going to go after their own goals and have a vision, right, for what they want. What is working? Oh yeah.
I want to ask you something really quick, because I have a thought in my mind and I want to see if it's similar. When you see people who are, because you're so right, people are much more likely to get a handful of customers than to like intentionally go for business building brand ambassadors, right? What do you think is what you have seen on your team holds people back from that and just stays in the like the warm, cozy customer zone?
I think 2 things. I think fear is one thing, because if you're not confident in what you have, you will struggle to know what, like, to find the words to even recruit those people. So fear, insecurity, like being confident in yourself, also being like, I think it takes more self-confidence, maybe more business perspective also, because I felt like I had to grow into those shoes a little bit, because it was not hard for me to talk about products with people. It felt, what is the word? It felt, I don't even know what the word is. Like, I wasn't a business major, like what I saw Jessica doing. I was like, no, that's not me. That is not me. But for her, it definitely worked. And for me, I think it just took time for me to figure out like what I was going to say about the business piece. And it took time for me to figure that out. And I still feel like I default more to reaching out about the products, and then I can convert people over, which is kind of a slower process in some ways, because some of the times the people want to have a product experience first, and then they'll share, kind of like I was. So I would say fear holds people back from sharing the business. No, not knowing what to say or how to present it is another piece. And then I think it's just a lack of vision for what this could be. Like, because if you want to grow it exponentially, you can't recruit yourself to Emerald, or most people can't. And I don't know, even if you could, I don't know why you would want to, because it's a heck of a lot of work, right? Much easier to have multiple, 3 rubies, or, several golds, some senior golds, and maybe a senior ruby or something. And so, yeah, that's kind of my perspective on that. What do you see, Tamara?
Very similar. I was thinking it feels much more comfortable to talk about the products. And I think once you kind of like get into the habit of doing that, like it's harder to start like sharing the business and asking people into the business because it feels easy over here. And so I think it's just, especially if you've been doing this for a really long time, it's like you have to intentionally push yourself towards that. Otherwise, it's just easy to stay in that comfort area. I mean, I say the same thing to myself. Like I feel like I can bring customers in very easily and get people started on products, but if I'm not continually talking to people about the business, then it's almost like it gets like stale. Like you get stale in practicing that.
Yeah, so I would encourage you guys to make yourself do it. So fun little trick, what I do is when I am on social media, because I don't spend tons of time on there, but when I am scrolling and I see someone that I'm like, ooh, they look fun. Ooh, I would like to be their friend in person, or for whatever reason, like they spark something in me, I'll screenshot. So like, ooh, I think they'd be good at this business. So I'd screenshot them. And then when I sit down to like intentionally message people about the business, I kind of have to sometimes be in that headspace, or, just not be willy-nilly, which there's nothing wrong with sending some random messages, like just on a whim. Like, oh my word, I just was scrolling, saw your post. For whatever reason, I just thought of you. I think that you'd be really good at what I do. Would you be open to a conversation? I do those things too, but sometimes I'm not in the mental space to like send messages. So I'll screenshot. And then when I sit down to work, I will go to my screenshot file folder in my pictures and then message them that way. So a little tip there. I was going to talk really quick about what is driving momentum for our team right now. And I would say it's in-person events. And I know that one of the beautiful things about Plexus from the get-go, like for me especially, has been the fact that you can grow it on social media. And it is amazing, and you can spread the net really wide, and you can recruit people fairly fast doing that. In-person events to me are a huge piece, like a piece of the puzzle for our success. I feel like it wasn't that like I grew a lot off of just social media, right? But we have intentionally done in-person events all throughout the years. And there's been some seasons where we're better at it than others. But I would say my goal when new people start locally, especially, is that we do 2 in-person events and then followed up with an online event. 2 in-person events followed up with an online event. So that has been my goal with new people that want to do the business, or at least open to sharing, right? So we get 2 in-person events scheduled right off the bat. So for example, last summer, Jessica Heffley was like, message 5 new people they haven't talked to. So I was like, okay, who do I message? So like this girl, Brandy, was on my Facebook. So I was like, I'm gonna talk to her before. I sent her a message. It was like a 17-second, I think it was 17, maybe it's 28-second voice clip. Hey friend, or hey Brandy, I know I've never chatted with you before, not sure how we connected, but I was introduced to these supplements 9 years ago. They've been a game changer for health. Family's benefited also. Curious if you'd be open to chatting more about it. Boom, done, sent, moved on with my life. Anyways, she messaged me back. She's like, also, actually, I have Lyme and I'm looking to transition over to a different supplement line. Sure, send me your link and what I should order. So I was like, okay, perfect. And she's like, and also I'm not interested in selling anything. So I was like, okay, perfect. So I was like, a couple weeks later, she was like, hey, the active is really doing amazing things for me. I'm like, you should tell people about that. And I was just dripping little bits here and there. And then in September, she was like, hey, I'm going to sell this stuff. Like, I love it. Like, I love this. And so I was like, okay, cool. Let's do an in-person event. So she only lives 40-ish minutes from me, maybe not even that much. So I went to her house. Her living room was full. I was like, okay, interesting. This is going to be awesome. I could just tell like her friend circle that came, and she told me, she's like, those are not even my immediate friends. Like these were just kind of random people that know me. And long story short, she had some people that couldn't come that night. So she said she did a little sip and see the next day with people after work, and they just stopped by. She signed all 4 of those people. So within 12 days, she went gold. And
Wow.
she left the contest. What was it? Punta Cana contest. By the end of December, she had made, I'm pretty sure it was over 10 grand, because she fast started. She got all the cash for that trip. Like she was floored and was amazed. And interestingly, they farm. Her husband has a mechanic shop. They're very, very successful. And she has openly shared, like, I have not done this for a business or for money, like because we need money, but like it's just cherry on top. And why wouldn't I grow another income stream? This makes sense. And so all that to say, you never know how what impact you're going to have with that little message that you send, even on a whim, because your sponsor said, hey, go message 5 people real quick, and you just kind of do it and then move on with life. I
Well, and the
don't
thing
know
too,
that works,
Megan,
that,
is
but it
like
does.
that's not going to happen every single time, and you can't
No.
be discouraged, right? So, but like it did happen. So it just because you send 5, 10 messages and you get maybe one customer out of that, and you're like, well, that just didn't work. Well, who knows? The next 10 messages you send, you may get someone like that who goes fast start gold. I mean, I don't. Megan, was this you? I don't. Maybe this. I can't remember. It was one of my level ones years ago who was stuck at, I think, Ruby or Senior Ruby. And then one of their level ones recruited someone who went fast start, and like their business just catapulted. Was that you, Megan?
I feel like my people were slower and steady, slow, steady.
I'm
Um,
sorry. I was talking to Megan Garrity.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
Something
sorry.
happened.
Sorry.
I had it down here.
Yeah,
Like,
I think Kindle recruited someone and she went fast start, and then like momentum just built from there.
Yes, yes. And I just remember, and then I have another girl who was gold for like 2 years, and she had signed someone who went fast start gold, and it started a new wave in her business. And so I just think it's so interesting that you just never know what's around the corner if you just stay consistent.
mm-hmm. And I think that's the hard part in
It is.
this gig, because a lot of times we're working with no um encouragement that we're doing the right thing, which I think a part of our brain is like, yep, keep going, keep going. But then the other part of our brain is like, oh my word, why are these people not messaging me back? So yeah, just because I mean, I sent Brandy that message, but like I'm going back to the drawing board like I used to. I would sit down at nap time legit with notebook pages full of names that I had written down. And I know that maybe sounds crazy, and I would just message people and just to see if they're open. I'm not trying to sell them like right off the bat. I'm just looking to see if they're open to a conversation to learn more. And I'm not expecting a huge, massive rate of return in terms of messages back. So if you're expecting 100% of the people messaging you back, just get used to the fact it's probably more like 10%. So out of 100 messages that you send, you will probably get around 10 replies, and some of them or most of them will be no. But you've planted the seed, and I can't tell you how many times those have come around. They may not, like I have multiple business builders on my team that did not reply back to messages that I sent. But you have to have like the long-term vision and high hope. I think I'm a really high hope person. So I'm like, oh, they just got busy. They'll get back with me. Or I'll intentionally like let them win something that I am doing, or I'll message them again and try to get a yes. So people are amazing. I mean, I feel like I can easily get a yes to like, hey, would you like to a little invite to my event that I'm hosting? I'm just educating about the products, or I'm educating about this business opportunity. Would you be game if I added you to that? A lot of times people will say yes to that, or samples. If it's people that you're like, oh my word, if they would say yes, they'd be amazing at this business, try the sample route. Sometimes it's just trying different things. And I think that's the one thing that I've been open to, is like not only one way, is like trying different things. And it's like what worked last month might not work this month the same way. And so being willing to pivot and be creative. And I liked I think it was Trisha Rieger recently said, like, you need to have thinking time around your business, because sometimes your best ideas come when you're just thinking instead of always being in like on the hamster wheel do mode. I think some of us need to get on the mode and just be doing things. And sometimes those doers need to slow down for a hot minute and think, because they might find the next best, next greatest idea to move their business forward.
That's good.
Are there questions? I forgot to look at the chat.
Jennifer just wrote, is there any good verbiage for inviting to in-person events that you have found?
The verbiage, to me, the verbiage doesn't really matter. I mean, if you're messaging, inviting people from your heart, like, oh my goodness, I really want you to come. I'm hosting this event. I think that you really enjoy it. I think you'd love to come. Like, I don't think it needs to be overthought, but short and sweet. Like, hey, I'm hosting an event. Could you come?
And
And
Jennifer,
then,
oh, I'm sorry, Megan, go ahead.
yeah. No, I mean, that's it.
I did an event with Becky Page recently. She was totally the lead on it, but I just helped her with it. And one thing that she did that was so great is that because gut health, I mean, we've been doing gut health for years, right? But we made the focus that it was a gut health meeting. I think we called it, microbiome masterclass. And there was a whole presentation about why gut health is important, what it helps with, without mentioning Plexus products. Like, it was just teaching about gut health. It was like 12 minutes. And then we had all the products out for people to sample, to taste. We had brochures about them. We had before and after pictures next to the reset and the restore. And then we had like 4 or 5 testimonies. And at the very end, I shared about the business opportunity. It was like an hour and a half long. We had appetizers. Like, we had probably maybe 8 or 9 non-Plexus ambassadors, which I felt was like really successful. And they all enjoyed it. They all like walked away going, okay, I learned something about gut health. Like, we opened it up for questions if people wanted to ask specific things about the products or about gut health in general. And so it wasn't like, come have a Plexus sip and see. It was more like focused on gut health, where we just shared some about Plexus. And I would have called that, like, it was very, very successful. And it was fun. It was fun.
Mm-hmm. I actually have a training I'll send to Tamara, and she can send it to you guys on my YouTube about hosting a sip and see. And I'm pretty sure I mentioned some ideas for like getting more people there, but you could do some giveaways, some gift cards, or some free samples, like, hey, if you come, I will make sure that you get a gift pack or whatever, because sometimes that encourages people. Also encouraging your people that are coming to bring a friend. And also, that's why it's good to have two, like a backup event also, because people that can't come Tuesday may be able to come Saturday morning, and anyone that can't come to any of those could then be funneled into an online event, and the non-local people too. But I was going to give you guys a couple of challenges. One would be to get some books and start reading. Another would be to get an in-person event scheduled before the end of the month, and don't wait on your sponsor to like come and host it for you. You can do one without them. I promise you. I did, and I have done them from the get-go, and you can figure it out. Like, there's little videos, there's lots of pictures of other people's events that they've hosted, and you can even just do a simple educational like event and open up your home and share what you know about gut health, or
I have a whole slideshow on the microbiome
awesome.
event. If anybody wants that, you can just message me directly.
See, it's already done for you.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so then find someone on your team to do an event for. So if you do an in-person event, you're kind of like launching or relaunching yourself. And then doing one for someone on your team, even if that means you have to travel to them, that's something that we've done since the get-go, and it's definitely helped bear fruit in people's businesses, because typically their potentials aren't going to drive 30 minutes to my house, but they may pop over 5 minutes to their friend's house that's hosting something, and so that's a really great way to spark momentum on your team, is to offer to do little events for people. And then my last little tip, homework for you guys, would be to put yourself back into recruitment mode. Some of you may have been around Plexus for a long time and just need to get back to what you once did. And then others of you may be in your warm market. Like, that's the best place to be, to be able to engage people that have never heard about Plexus, and you're you're that spokesperson for sharing with them. And so I would just encourage you to like put the pedal to the metal and see where it goes. And the last thing I'll leave you with is, since the beginning, I have prayed Psalm 90. I think it's verse 16 and 17. It's the end, like the last little verses of Psalm 90. But basically, I just prayed that God would magnify the hours in my day, which is my own, whatever, my own little addition to that, and that He would bless the work of our hands. And that scripture talks about God blessing the work of our hands. And then I prayed specifically that God would bring people to us that needed either the products and or the business. And so I would just encourage you to pray, because God can direct people, like supernaturally direct people to you, and also put people on your brain. But when the download comes, you can't dismiss it like, oh, they would never be interested, because the name came to mind for a reason, for sure. And so those are my tips. That's my kind of a little short version of my story and some of the things I've learned over the years. Tamara, or anyone, does anyone else have some questions?
Anybody? Okay, well, since we're over, I'm gonna close it up really quickly. Megan's gonna send me that training video and we'll get it out to everybody, and Lisa's gonna post a recording. And then if anyone is interested in that microbiome masterclass slide, just message me privately and I'll get it to you. But Megan, thank you so much for your time.
You're
We're
so welcome.
we'll get you the recording too, okay? All right, bye everybody.